And we're back. This is the channel where we talk about everything US markets, US headlines, and we also go into the analysis of the price charts, some of the indicators, the fundamentals, and we also go into some of the revenues and earnings as well. So this is also an educational channel. It's a fun channel. We promise we won't bore you and make you fall asleep. So welcome back, welcome back. Where we're going to talk about all the US markets. One of the first things, for example, going here to Apple, one of the first things that we're going to talk about in the headlines is Apple. Apple makes a 25%. Apple makes 25% of the iPhones in India after China pivot. Apple increased the iPhone in India by 53% last year, and now makes 1/4 of its marquee devices there. So we're going to talk about Apple as well. Second here. We're going to talk about Apple. We're also going to talk about Oracle. Why Oracle? Because Oracle just jumped up 9% on an earnings beat. They beat their earnings and they increased their guidance as cloud revenue climbed 44%. So that's also going to be in the stream. And NVIDIA, not a day goes by where NVIDIA is not doing something, right? So NVIDIA makes an investment in Thinking Machines Lab. It's an AI startup that makes AI systems. We're going to talk about NVIDIA. Also, we'll talk a little bit about Ford as well. Ford is launching a new commercial business. It's called Ford Pro AI. And it's basically an AI program that can analyze and monitor 1 billion data points on your car or truck. That's interesting. Also, we have him or hers in the news because their shares just surged up 40% because of the Novo Nordisk dropped their lawsuit with them. Also, we're going to look at gold because gold also just advanced 1%. It's up to 5,200 as well. Yes, all that and more. So, without any further ado, let's go deeper into the analysis, okay? So, let's talk about Apple. So, Apple here, as you can see behind me, Apple is now making 25% of iPhones in India after the China pivot. And why did they pivot? Well, basically, it's because of the tariffs, right? So, they want to get away from the tariffs, so now they move stuff into India. Now, Apple increased the iPhones in India by 53% last year and now makes 1/4 of its marquee devices there. They also assembled 53 million iPhones in India, which in 2025, which is up 36 million a year from earlier. And Apple makes 220 million to 230 million iPhones per year globally. Yes. Electronics assembly still costs more in India than it does in other countries, including China and Vietnam, but that also might be changing. So let's take a look at Apple, okay? Done. So this chart is the 1 minute chart. APL, that's the 1 minute chart. And then let's see, this is the 1 day chart, as you can see. AAPL right here, Apple. Let me undo that, okay? And let me change this so you can see it better. Done. Bring this down, yes, right here. And then here's AAPL. Done. Bring this down. So you can see it better. 1 second here. You can see how I'm moving this chart and the trading volume to make it easier to read right there. And then you can, for example, do this, do that. Yeah, so here's Apple. And right here, this is the 1 minute chart. Let's take a look at Apple. Let me show you the indicator of the RSI. This is the RSI, Relative Strength Index. You can see that on the Relative Strength Index. That is the 70 line. And that's the line that kind of generally means it's overbought. And this is the line right here that means it's kind of oversold. Let's see, greetings, M3D R4N Hello, hello. How are you? Da. Are you Mr. Beast missing dad? No, no, I'm not. um, okay, but looking there at the RSI right there, you'll see the right now here the RSI is sitting at 42, 43, and you may recall that on the RSI relative strength index, 42, 43 is very, very neutral. And actually, one thing I want to show you right here is how the relative strength index right here, boom, boom, right there. It's very, very neutral, and that you can reflect that up here in the price chart. So when it's neutral here, it's also pretty neutral here. This is what we call consolidation or continuation. You have the right here, you have the resistance or the invisible ceiling. Here you have the support or the invisible floor, and that comes from this, so we call this consolidation or continuation, and that comes from this neutrality right here, okay, in the RSI, where the price doesn't, it goes up and down, but it goes up and down the same amount, okay? And so right here, for the here, also we're talking about the MACD. The MACD, basically to keep it super simple, the moving average convergence divergence right here, this is the blue line right here. You can see that right behind me, the blue line, moving average convergence divergence. And then right here, you can see the moving average convergence right there. If when the blue line crosses the red signal line going down, the price chart's going to curve and go down. Okay, so it reacts the same way. It correlates with it that way. Similarly, like right here at the MACD, right here, the MACD crosses the signal line going up, and then right here crosses the signal. This price chart goes up right there. Good. So bear that in mind. So that's two indicators we just talked about. There's the moving average, convergence, divergence. Here's the relative strength index. And again, remember, even though these lines are overbought and oversold, they can go way overbought for a long time before they ever market correct and come down. And these can be way oversold before they market correct and curve back up. So they're just guides, okay? Take them with many grains of salt, okay? And now let's go here to some of the chart patterns. For example, right here, you have here's a head, you have a left shoulder and a right shoulder, and then right here you see the head, the left shoulder, the right shoulder. This is the neckline, and then as that happens, you see, bang, this pierces the neckline and goes down, right? So that's what the head and shoulders does, is it goes down. There's also the reverse head and shoulders that changes the chart, makes it go up. I'll show you that one too. And so there we go. There's that. Let me see if, let's see, yeah, right here. For example, there is right here, you see one bottom right here, you see one bottom right here, and then this is the neckline right here. You see in the middle, maybe, can you see that? Here's one bottom, here's a second bottom. So it comes down, it tries to go back up, it fails, it comes back down. So the sellers lose all resistance, and bang, it springs up. And that's the neckline right in there. So it does break the neckline. Yes. So that's that. And let's see if I can show you some quick ones. Right. Some of the quick ones real fast before we go to the fundamentals. Here we go. This is one right here where you can kind of see it doesn't break out too much, but here's the head, left shoulder, right shoulder right there, neckline. Okay, head, left shoulder, right shoulder. Here's your neckline, and then it waits a little bit and then it breaks out. For example, it breaks out over here, bang. Okay, so that's the head and shoulders, and it breaks out down. And let's go to the fundamentals now. This is Apple. again, you have, this is the 1 minute time frame. If you want to see the difference, go over here to the 1 day. The chart does change. You can see how it looks different there. And that's why I have it on 2 different time frames, because some patterns you can see in one time frame, some patterns you can see in the other time frame better. So you can compare them. Let me give you an example of that, one that we haven't already talked about. But anyway, this is the 1 day. Anyway, you get the idea. And then right over here, here we go back to the beginning. One thing I want to show you is this. You see in some places where there is a lot of trading, this is you see my arrow, that's this bar that comes up, that's the measure of the trade volume, okay? So trade volume happens when there's the price action. You see the price action here? This is the trade volume changing there. And then right over here, you see again, there's some more volume right there. And then in different places, there's less volume. So just take note of when there is more and less volume, okay? Here we go. And now, let's look at the volume right now is at 3.19 million. Market cap is at 3.8 trillion. And then we go here to earnings. Okay, now what does this really tell you? You have the blue bar, which is basically what the company really pulled in, what they earned that quarter. You see that you have the quarter and you have the annually right there behind me, if you can see that. The blue part is what they actually, I'll highlight it with my cursor right there. The blue part is what they actually pulled in. The gray part is what they predicted or projected on Wall Street, the forecasters, the analysts. So when you beat the analyst forecast as far as what you were supposed to earn, that looks strong and healthy for the company. So Apple for Q1 of 2026 beat the forecast. Q4 of 2025, as you can see, also beat the forecast, and also Q3 beat the forecast as well. So all 3 of the last quarters beat the forecast. Click annually, and you'll see that right here, for example, 2025, right there as a year. Now the year is more important because year gives you more information. A quarter just gives you a little bit of information. A year, again, gives you more information. 2024, right there. Also, as a year, beat expectations. 2023, the same thing. So what you can say is, to summarize, the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025, all beat the annual expectations on the earnings. Now, let's go to statements. Why? Because statements is different. Click the annual button. Statements, you have revenue, you have gross profit, operating income, and net income. And you can have great earnings, but then have bad revenue or bad income. So again, you have to look at all the different pieces of data, pieces of information. So let's look here. Apple for 2024 and 2025, all green, all looking good, except for net income for 2024. Now, let's look at 2023. If you look behind me, there's a whole row of red there. It's because 2023, everything was red, everything was negative. You had revenue, profit, income, all negative for 2023. So 2023 was not a very good year. Now, if you want, you can also take a look at this forecast right here. I don't look at this too much because I think it's just for entertainment. But if you want it, you can know it's there. Yes. And there's the forecast. But again, I don't put too much salt into that. I'd actually take it with a bucket of salt. I don't put too much stock into it. That's Apple, and that's Apple. We're looking at them because they now make 25% of their iPhones in India, pivoting away from China. Now, what about Oracle? This is interesting because Oracle was recently in the news because investors were getting weary of them. Because welcome for everyone who's joining. Welcome to the channel where we talk about everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, and we do the analysis, we do the trading view, breakdown, and we make it fun, or we try to. So if there's a ticker that you want me to look at, you're welcome to ask it too. But for example, Oracle is sitting on $100 billion of debt, and so Google and Amazon and Microsoft, actually by contrast, are leaning on enormous cash generating businesses. Now here's the thing, Oracle's partner Blue Owl is actually declining to fund an additional facility and plans to cut 30,000 jobs. Investors are watching how Oracle will address their $50 billion in capital expenditures and how they'll handle it, and if the financing pipeline can actually hold up. Because with Oracle, their stock is down 23%, and they've lost over half its value since peaking in September. Now, why? Now look today. Oracle jumps 9% on earnings beat and increased guidance as cloud revenue climbs 44%. So let's dig deeper into this one right here. The fourth quarter revenue growth of 20% overall. Revenue overall year by year increased by 22%, and net income rose 3.72 billion. They reported $8.9 billion in total cloud revenue, which is up 44%. 2027 revenue forecast pushed up to 90 billion, and Oracle said it generated 4.9 billion in cloud infrastructure revenue, which is up 84%. Okay, Oracle has won large contracts to deliver cloud infrastructure to AI companies, but have less cash on hand than competitors like Amazon and Microsoft. And Oracle plans to raise 50 billion to expand cloud capacity, and they plan 10 gigawatts of computing power online in the next 3 years. So that's Oracle, and yeah, they're bouncing back a little bit. Let's check them out. Again, let's put in Oracle. Here we go. Oracle. Here we go. Let me change this a little bit so you can see it better. There's that. I'm just changing the chart so you can see it a little bit better on why it's. So here's that. This is the 1 minute chart, and then over here, this is the 1 day chart. So here's the 1 day chart. Let me type in Oracle over here so you can see it on the 1 day. Oracle, boom. Here's Oracle. This is the 1 day chart and the 1 minute chart. So they both look different, and you can see different chart patterns on each one. Here we go. So let's look over here. If you're looking here on Oracle, right now you can see bang. They just this is right here. Right here, bang, it just jumped up. You can see that. And then it actually, the RSI, because this is per minute, the RSI bang has come down. I want you to notice this. The RSI right here is sitting at 92. Right there, it went all the way up to 92 before it market corrected and came down. And that's also why you see this right here. It just went straight up right here. Boom, boom. And that's what that's about. And right now the RSI finally sits right here at 58, which is very neutral, and that's why it goes straight up, and then you see it finally neutralizes out a little bit right there. But that's kind of what that's all about right there. And remember, this area in here between 55 45, that's the neutral area. And let me see if I can get you some good charts here, chart patterns that is. For example, right here, here's the head, here's the left shoulder, Here's the right shoulder. This is a good reverse. This is a good head and shoulders. And you see it does kind of break out and go down right there. Head and shoulders, it breaks out and goes down right there. Yeah. And let's see. Also, let's go down right here. You see it just jumps straight up right there. And then over here, you can see, for example, here's a good, right here. Here's your head, here's your double top, and then also, that's your double top, and here's your neckline. It breaks out and goes down right there. If you can see that right behind me, the double top, it breaks out and goes down. Yes. Let's see. Ding, did you just go live? Yes, yes I did. Good to see you here as well. Yes, I just went live not very long ago, but yeah, so welcome back, Ding, welcome back. Yeah, and then here we go. Also, if you're looking for, there's a double top. Again, here's the double bottom right here, and you can see right there, it jumps up right there. So there's a double bottom, goes up right there. Yes. For anyone who's just jumping on here and you wonder what you've jumped into, welcome, welcome. This is the channel where we talk about everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines. We make it fun. We do the headlines. We do the market analysis. We do the earnings and profits and chart patterns and indicators. So here we go. And if you have a question or a ticker that you want me to look at, feel free to let me know in the comments. Yes. And then here again, you can see right here how basically these two right here, see my arrow, those 2 points, they come up to the same point. That's again a double top, and then bang, it drops down. Here is the here's the neckline right there, and then you can see the neckline, and it goes down from there, right? So very good. And this is Oracle, okay? So that's in. We'll take a look at some. Here's and then Oracle over here for the 1 day chart. You can see that. Here's how the day chart looks different from the 1 minute chart for sure. Again, if you want to spread this out and see some patterns, basically again here you see a double bottom right here. That's the double bottom, and bang, it goes up, and here we go. Yeah, but that's that. And I want to show you this on, for example, here when you're looking at this chart on Oracle. Again, I want to make sure that you keep in mind. Where is it? Yeah, you see right here. Oh, this is a good one. You can see it very well. See all this, the volume of the trading, volume of trading. Lots of trading right here, right? That's because Oracle just shot up. Look at this, bang! It goes all the way up here, straight up to here, and that's why you see all this trade volume right here. And that's also why you see right here. The relative strength index just bang goes straight up, and then finally it levels out again. That's why I said the RSI is just a guide. And then okay, so that's that. Now let's look at some of the fundamentals for Oracle. Right now the volume is at 34.3 million. Market cap is at 477 billion. And if we go here to earnings right here, earnings. Right behind me, you'll see the quarterly, you'll see the annual button. You want to hit, we'll look at both, but annually is more important. For example, Q3 right here, Q3 is sitting at 179 estimate. That's the reported earnings. The estimated earnings was 1.7, so it did beat the estimate. The same thing for Q2. Q2 beat the estimate by a long shot. Q1, however, Q1 missed the estimate, so it did not meet the forecast on Q1. But let's look here at the annual part, okay? Annually, right here, 2024, yes, 2024 beat expectations. 2023, oh God, it just missed it. 2023 just barely missed the annual expectations. 2022 beat it. So to summarize, when you're looking at Oracle and you're looking at earnings, the last 3 years, were very good for earnings, except for 2023. It just barely missed the earnings expectations. Okay, but here, if we go here to let's look how the statements look. Click the annual button, and you'll see that right behind me annually. Oracle. If we look at the last 3 years, actually, the last 3 years were pretty good too. The only year that wasn't completely good was 2022, and that was the operating income. Otherwise, it was all green except for 2022's operating income. Otherwise, 2023, 2024, 2022, all revenue, gross profit, operating income, and net income were all green. Okay, so that's looking, again, this, why do we care about this? Because it tells you about some of the health, the vitality, the strength of the company, how much it's bringing in, how much was actually revenue, how much was profit, etc. So there you go. That's Oracle. And another one that we're going to take a look at is NVIDIA. Why NVIDIA? Here we go. One second, let me undo this. Why NVIDIA? Because NVIDIA just invested in Thinking Machines Lab. It's an AI startup that aims to make AI systems more understood and more capable. So, to give you more information, this Thinking Machines Lab is a San Francisco-based startup founded in 2025. It focuses on developing customizable, generally capable, and more understandable AI systems, which sounds like it's pretty good, right? The company aims to move beyond simple scaling to be more efficient, adaptable, and collaborative AI models. Some of the investors are NVIDIA, AMD, and Cisco. In 2025, they raised a record-setting $2 billion for their seed round, valuing the firm at $12 billion. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's NVIDIA with Thinking Machines Lab. So let's go here to NVIDIA. Let's look at this one. NVIDIA right here. Oh, every time I've got to change this. Right here, allow me to adjust my graphs a little bit so that they're easier to, right there you go. And then that's the 1 minute graph, and then this is the NVIDIA, this is the 1 day graph. We change just a little bit right here so you can see it better. Right there, just that there, that looks better. This is the 1 day graph. Why do I have the different minutes? Well, because on a 1 minute graph you can see different charts that you cannot see on the 1 day, and vice versa. Sometimes on the 1 day you can see charts that you don't see on the 1 minute. Okay, so let's bear that in mind. Right here, NVIDIA, as you can see right here, right behind me, the RSI right here is sitting at 40.45, which is very, very neutral. And as you can see up here on the price chart right here, it came down and it's stabilizing. So it's and right, you can see the same thing, for example, with the MACD. The MACD crossed right here, which indicates it's going down, which indicates this downward one. And then right here, you can see it correcting right there. Yeah, right there. And so, for example, let's go over here to some chart patterns. Where is it? Here we go. Right here. Here's the reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder. A little bit of a diagonal neckline right there. You can see that reverse head, diagonal neckline, and then bang, it goes up, right? So there's that. Okay. And here's the chart pattern breaking the neckline and going up there. Yeah. and basically you have, let's see, let me give you another fun one if I can. There we go. Oh, here's one. That's the reverse head and shoulders here. This is NVIDIA's double bottom right here. Double bottom, you can see it comes down, the sellers lose momentum, the buyers take over, it comes down, the buyers, boom, they take over. So this goes like that. Bang, it breaks out. Double bottom, and this one does what it's supposed to, it breaks out. I'll highlight that for you right here. Dun, dun, dun. There's that right there. Again, if you're wondering what you just stepped into, welcome to the channel where we talk about everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines, and we keep it fun. We do all the analysis as well for some of the headline companies, and we do fundamentals, we do revenue indicators, etc. So if you have a ticker that you want me to look up, feel free to let me know. And over here also you can see this one. You can see here there is a double bottom right here. Bang. See my two arrows right here, double bottom, and then bang, it goes up. Not a lot, but it does go up some. Welcome everyone for the U.S. markets and U.S. headlines, and we're breaking it down. Let's see. There we go. You're still live. Ding. You're still live. Yeah. I was off for a little while. Now I'm back on. So yeah, I'm still live here. And so there's that. Okay, that's NVIDIA. If you want to see NVIDIA on the 1 day, here's NVIDIA's chart on the 1 day. This is the 1 day chart. It looks very different, but there's also, you can see patterns here that you couldn't always see on the other ones. Like for example, here is a double top. It might be easier to see on the 1 day. And also, if I go over here, here, yeah. But I'm just showing you this because depending on the chart patterns that you want to see, you will use different times on your graphs. Okay. But NVIDIA, for example, if we go over here, right here, NVIDIA, you see, look at this price action right here. The chart changes, right? So look at all this volume of trading down here. That's a lot of trading, right? And the same thing here. See that up here, this price action, then down here, this volume of trading down there. Okay. Yeah. So there's that. Right now, volume's at 40.2 million. Market cap is at 4.5 trillion. And then right here, quarterly. Again, we'll look at the quarterly first, then we'll look at the annually. Welcome everyone. For all of you joining, this is a channel where we talk about U.S. markets, U.S. headlines. We keep it fun and interesting. If you have a ticker you want, let me know. Right now, we're looking at NVIDIA. We're doing the fundamentals for it. Q4, as you can see, the blue bar was higher than the gray bar. So Q4 actually brought in more earnings than was expected. So that's a strong thing for the company. Same thing with Q3. Q3, it's higher than expectations there. And same thing here with Q2. Higher, the actual reported earnings were higher than expectations. And annually also, it's higher than expectations. And 2024, right here, annually also higher than expectations. The same with 2023. To summarize, the last 3 years on NVIDIA, last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025, all annually were the earnings received were higher than the earnings expected. So again, that makes the company look stronger, have more vitality than it was expected to be. Now, how does the earnings change with the statements? Well, earnings and statements can be completely different because you can be earning a lot and then not making any profit or not bringing in any revenue because it does happen sometimes. So you want to look at both. So here, if you put your annual button there, you go to total. If you look at the last 3 years here, right behind me, total revenue, gross profit, operating income, net income for the last 3 years. On this one, they're all green, all doing good, okay? So for NVIDIA, the profit, the revenue, the income looks good, and so does the earnings, okay? Now again, some people look at the forecast, I don't, but if you want to see it, there it is. But again, I don't put a whole lot of stock into it. Actually, I take it with a whole bucket of salt. Ding, yes. Thanks for the smiley face, Ding. So here, NVIDIA, that was NVIDIA. Now let's go back to the charts. Let's go back to the next one. The next item up for bid, let's see here, is we're going to go to Ford. Why are we talking about Ford? Because Ford just launched a new program. They have a multi-billion-dollar pro commercial business coming up. What's this about? Well, Ford's Pro AI can analyze. Again, this is not a script. This is my own notes. I encourage you to do the same. And so Ford's Pro AI can analyze and monitor 1 billion data points daily from their vehicles. So they're going to use AI and they're going to monitor your vehicle. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe not. Lucas, thank you very much for the likes. I appreciate that. Yes, for all of you commenting and liking, I appreciate it. It helps out a bunch. So what this does is they have these monitors, the data points on the vehicles, and the goal is for the subscribers to be able to use these tools to increase efficiency of the vehicle and actually reduce vehicle downtime, because it'll be able to, according to this article, analyze everything from like seat belts to vehicle health to route optimization, fuel consumption, everything else. So it analyzes everything. Therefore, in theory, it will keep the vehicle running better, running longer, and yeah, you know, right now the subscribers grew 30% last year, and Pro AI is actually built off the Google Cloud. So let's take a look at this. What did and again, this is Ford. Let's take a look here at Ford. Let's see, Ford, what's going on? Yeah, right here. So Ford. Also, again, if you want some notes right here, if you go over here on TradingView, there's a little update right there, news update. It says Ford agreed with Bread Financial on long-term co-branded credit card and installment loan program to finance subscriptions, parts, and services, offering rewards and flexible payment options. Okay, that's an interesting update. Also, let me change this a little bit here. Get this chart back in order. Hold on 1 second. Okay, this is the 1 minute chart, and let's see, I'm going to change the volume setting here a little bit. Here, okay, and then this is the one day chart for Ford. Again, why do I use 2 different timings? Because some charts you can see certain patterns, other times you can see some patterns, other times you can see different patterns. So it just depends on what patterns you want to see. They might show up better on the 1 day time, or they might show up better on the one minute time. That's why it just depends on what you're looking for, and you can always compare that way. Okay, so here's Ford on the 1 day chart. If you're looking right here on the RSI, you can see that the RSI bang right here, sitting down here at 33. Relative strength index is down at 33, and you can see Ford just dropped, and finally it market corrected right there. You can see there the price dropped, market correction, and you can see that right there with the RSI as well. Okay, so bear that in mind. Also, I want to show you this, because this is also basically a chart pattern too. This is what we call consolidation, where the chart pattern stays neutral. You see that right about here. You see here, if I box this in, chart pattern goes neutral right there. So you have consolidation, you have the invisible ceiling, invisible resistance, and you have the invisible support, the invisible floor right there. And I want you to notice this, that when there's a lot of price action, price changing, such as right there with my arrow, you'll be able to see that there's a lot more volume, trade volume right here. Trade volume, price action, okay? Let me erase some of these lines and markers so it's not so cluttered. But yeah, now, for example, let's look at for some of the chart patterns. Oh, this is a nice one. This one actually, here's the reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and here's the neckline. See that? With my green crayon, reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline. Yes. Marlene, thank you for the likes. I appreciate that. For everyone jumping on here and saying hello and giving a like, thank you very much. Makes it more fun. And this one does, as you can see, it does break out right there. Yes, right there is the breakout. And then if we go over here, basically here is another one, reverse head, left shoulder, and see here we have another where they share the same reverse head, left shoulder, right shoulder, and they share the same shoulder right there. This reverse head and shoulders is for that one, and this shoulders is for this reverse head and shoulders here, if you can see that. So sometimes it works out pretty interesting like that. And then here's your neckline. Yeah, let's go on over here. And sometimes they don't break out. Like for example, here's one bottom, here's another bottom, but it does not. You see here, you see the two bottoms, but it doesn't break out. So be aware of that. Greetings everyone, welcome. We're talking everything U.S. markets, U.S. headlines right now. We're breaking down Ford. Oh, here's a good one. This one actually breaks out pretty good too. Here's your head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, here's your neckline. See that? Head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline, right there, bang. And this one does break out pretty good. If you can see that, bang, breakout. And also, yeah, actually the head and shoulders shows up better on the 1 day chart sometimes. That's why, again, use 1 day for some patterns and use the 1 minute for other patterns. You'll see right here, here's your head, here's your left shoulder, here's your right shoulder, and then bang. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder, there's your neckline. You can see that, head and shoulders, good. Now let's go back to the beginning, okay? Scroll back to the beginning, and again, notice how the trading volume changes with the price chart pattern. See the volume and the patterns, how it changes together. And it's and keep an eye, if you're looking at the Ford Motor Company, keep an eye on this RSI right here, because and keep an eye on this market correction, because if it doesn't correct much, it could just correct a little bit and then go right back down. So bear that in mind. But right now the volume is at 9.9 million. Market cap is at 48.9 billion. And then right here, again, going to the fundamentals on Ford Motor Company, because it's in the news right now. Looking here, there's the quarterly and annually. Go here to the quarterly first, and you'll see that Q4 actually just missed expectations. Q3 beat expectations, and then right here, Q2 also beat expectations. Now, what happened as a year overall? Okay, let's take a look at that. Boom, boom. Hit the annual button, and you'll see that right here, 2025. Yeah, 2025 missed expectations. That's kind of why Ford, that's partly one of the reasons why Ford is getting some negative attention right now. 2024 beat expectations for the year. 2023 also beat expectations. So to summarize, the last 3 years, it beat expectations for the year except for 2025, okay? And that's the earnings. Let's take a look at the statements first, and then we'll compare that with the earnings and see how different they were, so I can explain that. So here's the, going here to the statements wise, click the annual button, and for example, annually looking at 2025, 2025 was not a good year for gross profit or operating income or pre-tax income or net income. The only thing that was good in 2025 was total revenue, so bear that in mind. 2024, not too much better. Had good total revenue and good pre-tax income and good net income, but everything else, your gross profit, operating income was negative. 2023, good total revenue, however, gross profit was negative, operating income was negative, net income was positive, so that's good. Now, again, there's a lot of red here, so that's why I say it depends on which pieces of information you value the most. But let's look back here at the, again, here's your annual for earnings. Again, the earnings can look good, and then over here, you have a lot of red in the statements. So just keep all that in mind when you're doing your research and you're doing your due diligence. So let's forward. Now, also, another one we have to talk about is him and hers. Why? This is a big one in the news because him and hers, their stock just jumped up 40% because Novo Nordisk dropped their patent infringement case. And so with that, him and hers will actually start to sell Novo Nordisk medicine through its platform. And because of that, now the stock is soaring. So that's basically what that summarizes right here in the article. Yeah, shares of him soared 40% right there. And let's check this out. Dun, dun, dun. Him and hers. If we go here, him and hers. This is the 1 minute chart. Dun, dun, dun. Right here. Right here. Let me try to change this a little bit. There's the 1 minute chart. And then let me change this a little bit. I can make it see it easier. Here is, go here to him and hers on the 1 day chart. Change them so you can see both how they are affected right here. Hold on 1 second as I adjust this to make it a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, this is the 1 day chart on the him and hers. Now you notice, for example, right here on him and hers, bang, him and hers jumped up. Right here, it's sitting at an RSI of 70. 70 RSI. 1 second, I'll grab some water. It's got an RSI of 70. Look at this, the RSI down here went all the way down to 14. So here's your RSI of 70 right now. It just bounced up, market corrected from an RSI of 14. That's what I mean. It can go way, way, way oversold before ever market correction comes back up, and it can have some wild swings. And so, for example, him and hers. Let me show this on the 1 minute, for example. This is the upward pattern. Him and hers. That's the 40% uptake right there. And now, hold on, let me reverse this. Yes, and then for example, right here, when you see this right here, here's the 1 day, here's the increase right there. Yeah, let me see, for example, if I can get you some better chart patterns on this 1 day, him and hers. This looks like, yeah, right here. This is a very good example of a head and shoulders. You can see right here, here's the head, here's the left shoulder, the right shoulder, neckline, and then you can see right here, it does indeed break out past the neckline. Head, left shoulder, right shoulder, neckline, breakout. Alexander, welcome. Yeah, today it's, well, overall it's everything U.S. markets and U.S. headlines, but at the moment I'm looking at him and hers. the ticker, because they just had a surge of 40%. So it's not only healthcare, but we look at the also the tech sector. We just looked at Ford a minute ago, so there's that too. So basically, all the major news headlines on the U.S. market in all sectors. Yeah. So if you have a if you have a ticker or a company that you would like for me to look up here on TradingView or something, just let me know. Or if you have another question, that's okay too. But that's kind of what we're doing right now. No, actually, good question though, Alexander. This is not a recommendation channel. It's not a sales channel. This is just an educational channel. So I give you the information, and then you do with the information what you think is best. And also, just so you know, on the TikTok live stream, their algorithm is so tight that if it even sounds like I'm suggesting or trying to suggest something, their algorithm picks it up and then restricts the channel, stuff like that. So that's what I mean. This is mainly just educational. But if you do have a more specific question, you can send me a message if you want. But no, I don't. I just teach you. This is basically just giving you the information so you can make your own decisions. Yeah, but hopefully that's helpful, and hopefully that's something that you're trying to do. Basically, I assume that you're here to try to learn more, which is good. Education is the key. If you have something that you want me to look at, let me know. Here we go. Done. Here we keeping going. This again is the price chart for him and hers. On the 1 day, let's see. For example, right here, this is a good example of a. Here is this is another nice head and shoulders. You can see this one pretty good. Here's the head. Here's the head right here. Left shoulder, right shoulder. But as you can tell, it does not. Head and shoulder does not break out much. There's not much of a breakout there. Thank you. I will for sure send you a message. I'm literally just starting today since I recently turned. Oh, cool. Well, congratulations and a happy birthday, Alexander. Again, I would encourage you start slow and just get educated first. Okay, so take it easy, man. And looking forward to hearing from you. All right, and cheers. All right, and there's that. There we go. Yeah, so take a look here at him and hers. As you can see, let me show you this. Give you an arrow. Again, here is the RSI, went all the way down. Now it's all the way back up because they just had that jump and increase. So, welcome everyone. If I missed your message, I apologize, but I think I got them all. Yeah, so on him and hers, the volume right now is at 39.6 million, and let's see, the market cap is at 6.11 billion. If we go here to, let me erase this part, go to the earnings side. The earnings side right here, again, there's quarterly and there's annually. Look at them both, but it's better to see the annual because it gives a better time frame. You don't find out much if it's just quarterly. But here for him and hers, Q4 of 2025 was a very good quarter. The reported earnings were much higher than expected. However, Q3, the earnings were much lower than expected. Q2, again, earnings were higher than expected. And if you would click the annual button, 2025, reported earnings were higher than expected overall for the 2025 year. 2024 actually just barely missed it. Yeah, 2024 just missed the estimate by a smidgen. 2023 actually beat the annual estimate. So there's that. Yeah, that's annual gives you more information. Statements wise, let's see how the statements compare. Click the annual button, and you'll see that, for example, revenue, gross profit, operating income, pre-tax income, and net income for the last 3 years, 2023, 2024, and 2025, all green, all positive, all doing good. So that's all the way down right there. And so again, seeing that, compare that with your earnings. Um, Earnings, you had a couple years here. You had 1 year that missed the earnings. Statements wise, you would say the statements look better than the earnings. Statements and earnings can be different. Sometimes they can be similar. That's why you want to check out them both. Yeah. So that's him and hers. Also, we should talk about gold. Why? Because gold right now is surging. Gold gold advanced after a report that energy agency is going to propose to release oil reserves to ease the supply shock. So gold went up 1% to 5,200 per ounce. So again, we have to talk about gold. Usually when there's chaos in the world, gold goes up. And in this case, gold is going up. So that's the insights on gold. And here are some of the top US-based mining companies, for example. So when the metals go up, the miners go up too. So I thought we'd take a look at some of the mining companies, especially some of the big ones. Like Newmont Corporation is one of the world's largest gold producers, also into copper, silver, and other metals. So let's take a look at Newmont right here. Newmont Corporation. Right there, let's see, and that's the 1 minute. Let's take a look here at also Newmont here. Newmont right here, corporation, and this is the 1 day chart for Newmont. Let me change this a little bit so it's easier to read. Here's the one in there. There we go. That's Newmont. The 1 day chart, and then here's Newmont on the 1 minute chart. Again, look at them on different time frames so you can get an idea. You can see different patterns in different time frames. Let me adjust this so you can see things better. Okay. Again, here's the. Okay, looking at Newmont right here. Here is the 1 day chart for those of you watching, and you can see it's a good chart for them. And what does Newmont say right here when it talks about gold is falling even as war rages on? What's happening? For example, right over here, the Newmont, right here, the RSI is sitting here at 46, 47. So the RSI right behind me is very neutral at 46 or 47. That's why in the price chart up here, it goes up, and then right here you can see it stabilize right there. See how it stabilizes? That's reflected down here in the RSI. It's very neutral right there, so it becomes stable right there. But however, you can also see how recently you did have this right here you had this uptick right here. So the RSI jumped up all the way here to 84. See that? It jumps up to 84, and then finally it market corrects and comes back down. So again, RSI can go very high before correcting. And then if you look right here, let me go over here to the 1 minute, and let me see if I can get some different chart patterns here. Yeah, 1 minute, 1 day. There's that. And so, for example, right here, come over here. Here's a good. You can kind of see right here. This is a. Here's your head, left shoulder, and right shoulder, and there's your neckline right there. So there's the head and shoulders right there on Newmont. And hold on, let me see if I can get you a different one at the same time. Well, oh yeah, here's another one. This looks more like a reverse. You can kind of see reverse head and shoulders right here, but this one doesn't break out. So I mean, sometimes you have the chart patterns, but they don't actually break out. So there's that. Now let's go into some of the fundamentals. Volume right now is at 2.4 million. Market cap is at 125 billion. And if we go here to the earnings, the fundamentals, what do we see? Well, we see, for example, on Newmont, if metals are going up, Newmont's going up too. Usually, not always, but usually. So here, quarterly, Newmont, all three of the last quarters, Q4, Q3, and Q2, all surpassed analyst expectations. Annually, right here, 2025, 2024, and 2023, all 3 years. Also, as you can see, the blue bar is higher than the gray bar. So the blue bar is what was received from earnings. The gray bar is what was expected. So all of that, all the blue bars are higher. So for the year, the annual side, the earnings are more than expected. Now, I'll grab a drink here. Okay, so that's the earnings. Now, how does this compare with the statements? Well, the statements give you the revenue, the profit, the income, etc. So right here, if you're looking at Newmont 2024 and 2025, you'll see that, right here, these two columns, it's all green, all positive. So the revenue, profit, operating income, the income was all good, all green. However, look at 2022 and 2023, and you will see that it's all in the red. So the last 2 years were good. However, the 2 years before that were not so good. So there's that. And that's Newmont. And we're looking at them because gold just jumped up. Now, having said that, let's let me erase this and let's take a look here at we have to talk about Apple. Why do we have to talk about Apple? Because Apple's also in the news today. Yes. For example, Apple right now, as the headline says, is making 25% of iPhones in India after China pivot. They pivoted basically because of the tariffs. Apple increased iPhones in India by 53% last year, and now makes 1/4 of its marquee devices there as well. They've assembled, again, this is my notes, not a script. I put a lot of time into this. They've assembled 55 million iPhones in India in 2025, and that was up from 36 million a year earlier. And Apple makes 220 million to 230 million iPhones per year globally. Electronics assembly still costs more in India than other countries, including China and Vietnam, but maybe that will change in the future. But again, that's a little bit about Apple and some of their happenings right now. Let's take a look here at Apple and see how their price chart's doing. AAPL right here, and then here AAPL right here. Okay, my goodness. Let me adjust this really quickly. Bring this down. Bring this down right here. Let's adjust this really quickly. There we go. And bring this up right here. Okay, there's that. So this is the 1 day for Apple. Again, this is a different time pattern. And let's see. There, and this is the 1 minute for Apple. Let me change this. Change it. And then this is, let's see, the 1 minute. I use 1 minute and 1 day so I can see different patterns in different times, so I can compare them. And then, for example, here's Apple. And as you can see right now on the 1 day, if you're looking at Apple, Apple today sitting here, RSI of about 45, right there, RSI 45, very, very neutral. And that's kind of what you see right here appear very, very neutral. And then right here, dun, 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 yeah, let's see. Bum, bum, bum. Go over here to Apple on the 1 minute chart. For example, on the 1 minute chart, you'll see different patterns jump out. You see, this is kind of a reverse head and shoulders, but this one does not break out, as you can see. So right there, you see the shoulders and you see the reverse head, but it doesn't break out. So they don't always break out is the point. There are some patterns, they'll be there and they don't break. And then, for example, here's one. This is a small reverse head and shoulders, and there is a small, here's the left shoulder, right shoulder. There is a small, you can see a small little breakout right there. Not much, but just a small one. Just to show you some of the patterns right there. And let me take you over here. Yeah, for example, here's your head right here, left shoulder, right shoulder there, and you can see a neckline. And that one does kind of, the head and shoulders breaks out down, the reverse head and shoulders is supposed to break out going up. So bear that in mind. Let's see, if you go over here, again, let me try this. You can adjust the settings to try to get the time to get the patterns to break out. Yes, for example, if you adjust the settings, you can get the charts to look different. And now you can see here's a double bottom right here, double bottom, and then right here, bum, bum, bum. See double bottom, and this one breaks out and goes up right there. So that's a chart for you. And then here, again, here's a reverse head and shoulders, and this one does break out a little bit. So here's the reverse head, here's your neckline, and this does, boom, it does right there, reverse head and shoulders. This one does break out and go up a little bit. There you go. Yes, and so that's looking at Apple. There's some chart patterns for you. Again, volume is at basically right now the volume is at 6 million. If I go over here to the beginning part, yeah, so here, right here, right there. So right here, if you want to know the volume, these are the volume bars. You see how right here there's less volume because there's less price action. Less price action here means less volume here. More price action usually means more volume. You see these arrows, more volume, the bars go up. You see those bars, they go up. That means more price action, okay? Welcome to everyone who's joining. This is the channel where we talk about everything US markets, US headlines. We make it fun and interesting, and we go into the analytics, the fundamentals, and the patterns, as well as just the headlines. So yeah, let's do this. Right here, looking at Apple quarterly, you can see Q1 of 2026 beat the expectations. The blue bar is higher than the gray bar, beat the expectations. Q4, same thing. Q3, the same thing. So those 3 quarters look strong for Apple. Annually, 2025, 2024, and 2023, all the years overall beat the annual expectations. And so if you're looking at it as a whole for the year, it looks strong. Because what that means, thank you for the likes, JT Strike, I appreciate that. And what that means is Apple as a company was able to pull in and receive more earnings than the analysts on Wall Street expected. So when they come out with the earnings report, it looks stronger, and therefore maybe the stock goes up, maybe they get more investment, stuff like that. But earnings isn't the only thing to look at. You also want to look at the statements. You want to look at revenue, profit, income, all this stuff. So it all plays a key role. Again, these are just some of the pieces of the puzzle. And sometimes people ask me, what's your... I don't give recommendations, I don't give suggestions. This is an educational channel. I just give you the information and help you see what to do with it. But yeah, having said that, as you can see here at Apple, the last 2 years were very, very good for revenue and profit and income, except for net income of 2024. And as you'll notice, 2023 was not a good year. 2023 behind me, it's a red column right there. Everything was in the red, everything was negative. So that being said, that's Apple. Again, hope to see you the same time tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Everything markets, everything analytics and fundamentals. Thank you for the likes and the comments. See you.